Leadership always begins with vision and mission. Where are you going? And why are you going there?
In this episode of The Curious CEO, we're joined by positivity guru Jon Gordon as we dive deep into how positive thinking can fuel business growth, enhance leadership, and turn challenges into opportunities.
Teams that feel like they're defending something don't do very well. But teams that feel like they're attacking a new opportunity, they do great.
We'll discuss how optimism impacts decision-making.
Your job is to plant the seeds and trust that the harvest is coming.
Practical strategies to reframe setbacks.
Love casts out fear. So anytime you're feeling fear, focus on loving what you get to do. Loving your team. Loving even the competition. I love the battle.
And actionable strategies to build a winning mindset.
You can affect your team or infect your team with your mood. This is why it's so crucial that we're working on our own leadership, our own mindset, and how we are sharing that energy with others.
This episode is packed with insights to help you shift your perspective to transform your business, your relationships, and your life.
Welcome back to another episode of The Curious CEO. We got a shot in the arm for you today. Today, I'm joined by the incredibly inspiring Jon Gordon, one of the top leadership speakers in the world and 17 times best-selling author. Jon has worked with Fortune 500 companies, some of the world's most successful CEOs and coaches, and championship-winning teams like the Dodgers, the Rams, and the Miami Heat. His books have revolutionized the way leaders, athletes, and organizations think about success, teamwork, and resilience. And Jon is also passionate about helping people cultivate a positive mindset that fuels success in business, leadership, and life. Jon, welcome to The Curious CEO.
Dermot, great to be with you.
Thank you so much. I can't think of a better time of the year to get some Jon Gordon juice here.
Well, January is already over. Most people have already quit their resolutions.
Exactly.
And so now we got to get back to reality and say, what are we going to create going forward? 98% of the people will actually quit their resolutions and 50% actually quit by the end of January. And so now is a great time to say, okay, what do I really want? What do I want to build? And how am I going to go forward in doing it?
100%. Because I say to people all the time, just because January is done and I know your New Year's resolutions are done, hey, we can start our year again, right? I mean, we can start right now.
Oh yeah. What do we want to build? What's your vision going forward? And leadership always begins with vision and mission. Like, where are you going? And why are you going there? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to build? Having a very clear idea of the future that you're working towards.
Well, I'm really excited to dig in here with you today. You're a New Yorker. I'm an Irish guy. I'm an Italian. You're part Italian, okay? This subject is not really kind of, where we come from. So let me ask you, before we get into some questions about what you just talked about, how did you get started in the positive psychology space and leadership space?
Right. Well, I'm not naturally positive. As you said, I grew up in Long Island, New York, in a Jewish Italian family. A lot of food, a lot of guilt, a lot of wine, a lot of whining. It's so ironic to me that this is my life's work, that we're here to develop positive leaders around the world in every business, every organization, every team, every community. That's our mission. And yet I'm not naturally positive. So my wife almost left me when I was 30 because I was so miserable and negative. I'd lost my job during the .com crash, didn't know how I was going to pay the bills. How would I support my family? And I was crumbling from the inside out. And she said, if you don't change, we're over. Because I was blaming her for why I had not lived up to my potential or my dreams. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. It was a defining moment where I said, I am going to work on being a more positive person. I'm going to work on being a better father, a better husband. And what is it that I want to do? Like, what am I here to do? And why am I so miserable? I literally cried out. It was a spiritual moment. And writing and speaking came to me in that moment. And I knew I wanted to be more positive. So I began researching all the ways I could be more positive. And this was during the emerging field of positive psychology. So this is really early on. Like, we're talking 2001, 2002. And I began practicing some of these ideas I was reading about. And I sort of like came up with my own. Like, I'm an applied kind of person, that I take things and I apply them. And I began doing that and then sharing what I was doing. And that began the weekly Positive Tip newsletter e-newsletter. How many e-newsletters were there in 2002? And I began sharing those out, those tips. My mother, my brother, my best friend from college. I had 5 subscribers initially, 5. And and so now we have a lot more. And that I still write that every single week. And that began this journey of now this quest to be more positive myself and then to be a better leader myself. And that turned into a mission and a quest to help others be more positive and become better leaders.
So such a personal thing to
Yeah.
go through that and practice it, right? I'm sure it's practice. I'm sure it takes some
Yeah,
reps.
my kids, will tell you, my kids will tell you, Dermot, that they've seen me change. My daughter wrote her college essay on how I was this really negative dad early on when she was growing up and how she saw me change. And in seeing me change, if I could change, she said, I believe the world can change. And my daughter is 26 now, and what is she doing? She's speaking. She just gave a keynote today to a group in Jekyll Island and just gave a talk. And we were talking about her talk. And like, I never thought she would do this, but that became her calling and her work that she's doing now. But I want to talk about the importance of being a positive leader for a second because, I remember during COVID, during the pandemic when everything was getting shut down. We lost 100% of our business, literally, during that time. I know a lot of people were hurting during that time. That was a scary time for all of us. And I'm walking around the house as everything's being canceled one by one via email or text. And it started out with like, darn it, darn it. And then it moved to damn, damn. The next day was shit. And I'm not even saying the other words I said after that.
Yeah, I
I'm
hear
not
you.
even- I want people to know, like, Mr. Positive was being quite negative during that
For
time.
sure.
And my wife's like, no, it's gonna be okay, John. It's gonna be okay. I go, no, it's not. Like, no, it's not. Like everything's being shut down. How are we gonna pay everyone? What are we gonna do? Like it was a scary time. And I was back to that time when I was, negative years before. And my wife said, aren't you the guy that writes those positive books? Aren't you that guy who actually always gives positive advice? You need to start following it. And I looked at her once again and I'm like, you're right. Once again, a defining moment in my life, I decided I'm going to be a positive leader during this time. I'm going to be a leader for my team and I'm going to be encouraging to them. I'm going to reach out to all my clients. And I said, if you can't afford to pay me, that's okay. I'd like to help you and encourage you during this time. I did so many Zooms during that time, like over 300 Zooms during that time, just encouraging different teams and organizations. Some paid, some didn't. I was there to encourage. And then I'm going to be a light for others. And I began posting all over social media. And so many people found me during that time. I meet people all the time to this day. They go, "We found you during COVID. We found you during COVID." I hear it from everybody. I think my audience doubled during that time. And then I just talked to a client the other day, new client. He said, we found you during COVID. We had 500 employees. Now we have 3,500 employees because you helped us stay positive during that time. We started listening to your podcast. We started reading your books and it transformed us. And I look back and I realize if I didn't make that change myself to decide to be positive, I would not have had the ripple effect. And I can look at our business now. It's exponentially grown every single year since that time. It was that time was like a crucial moment. But I believe every moment's a crucial moment for a leader to say, we're going to stay positive through this challenge and we're going to find a way forward. Because it's real optimism, real positivity, real belief. And it's not about rolling your eyes and being Pollyanna positive. It's saying, okay, this is difficult. How do we overcome?
And so, you're right, because I think back to, which is a great story, by the way. And at the same time is like, we're certainly where we're from and you're from, it's kind of considered woo-woo, right? I mean, positive psychology started with Aristotle, Zig Ziglar, okay? The Bible, renewing your mind, right? Transforming. I mean, it's thousands of years old, but it was in 1998, it was recognized as a science. But also, even with the science, it's the science and the study and the data that supports it. I love the personal story of what you just shared because, it's not like tough times will press you back towards what you're going. And, a lot of our folks right now, they're battling hard right now. It's tough. The media is tough. Everything, there's a lot of that stuff going around. But what I heard you say is that you just decided to double down and go on the offense, to give it away, to be a force for good in the world. And you planted a lot of seeds in other folks that have worked out pretty well.
Yep, that have really harvested later on. Your job is to plant the seeds and trust that the harvest is coming. You got to keep planting the seeds. And I believe this, I know this to be true. Teams that feel like they're defending something don't do very well. But teams that feel like they're attacking a new opportunity, they do great. So we've got to always attack in a new opportunity. And I remember years ago during the Great Recession, I was being brought to all these real estate companies during that time to give talks and a lot of mortgage companies. And a lot of them were hurting during that time. And I noticed that all these rookies were winning all these awards, but the veterans weren't. And I realized the veterans had the curse of experience. They were longing for the good old days. They were complaining about the way things were, and they were unadaptable to change. But the rookies didn't know about the good old days. The rookies just knew this market right here, right now. So they were putting their head down, building relationships, believing anything was possible. And as a result of that, they created their good old days, and that's why they were winning the awards. So I call it thinking like a rookie, and rookies attack new opportunities all the time. In this market, we got to think like rookies. Use your wisdom, your experience, your knowledge. That's a blessing, but don't expect to know. And don't look at the market and think it's not possible because there are people that are selling homes. There are people that are actually having some success. There are teams that are thriving. You know, the Washington Commanders asked me to come up and speak to them before their game in Tampa Bay during the playoffs. And I had never spoken to them before. Out of the blue, they texted me. And I went up there and I talked about three things: belief, brotherhood, and be you. Belief, brotherhood, and be you. And that really just resonated with the guys. And it was something that what you believe determines what you create. And this is clear. Research from Duke University shows that optimists work harder, get paid more, and are more likely to succeed in business and sports. And what they found was that these optimists, because they believed in a brighter and better future, they took the actions necessary to create it. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you believe determines what you create.
So good. Oh, what do you think it is that, I remember doing a speaking engagement a couple of years ago, right? And I didn't know I was going to do it, by the way, because my brother forgot he had one to do. Okay. And then they called him and said, "You're going to be there tomorrow." And he goes, "What? Where? Am I there tomorrow?" "No, but I can make it, but I'll tell you who's going." So he came into me, he goes, "You're going to do a speaking engagement tomorrow." I'm like, "What? Like tomorrow?" Like as in, he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, here we go." Anyway, went up there, had a great time, pulled it off. He comes into my office about a week later. He goes, "How'd it go?" And I said, "I got a stack of notes from people. They really loved it." And he goes, "That's great." He goes, "Don't get too attached to that. Because you get too attached to that, the negative will kill you. This will make you feel better than you are. This will make you feel worse than you are. And somewhere in between those two things is the truth." So why do you think it is that we're more, I think it's like that one negative comment you get on a post. You might get 100 things, and I'm sure you've experienced a lot of this too. You're out there spreading the gospel of like, come on, let's go, let's see the good. But why is it you think that our mind turns towards the negative first? Like that one comment can take us down.
Okay, so people will tell you that the reason why we have all these experts that say it's because we were running from tigers and we were trying to survive back in caveman times, and we learned to focus on the negative for survival. And they would tell you that. And I'm tired of that misperception and misconception out there because it's just not true. The reason why is because the negative attacks our identity. We attack our identity of who we are. And you will always be attacked in the place of your identity. And identity is not evolutionary. Identity is who you are as a person. It's actually spiritual because you're here for a reason. You're here to be on a mission and a purpose and to make a difference and to live a great life and to help others and accomplish something extraordinary. And on this path to greatness, to doing something amazing and something great, you will be attacked by negative thoughts and negative forces that try to hold you back from your destiny. So when that negative comment comes in, it says something about you and your identity. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe that accusation is true. Maybe I'm not as good as I think. So it goes to who you are in the core of your person. It's why young baseball players today love batting practice, but They don't love games anymore because the game is an indictment on who they are as a player if they fail. We have so many kids today that do not want to fail because of social media, because it's an attack on their identity. People need to understand this. Like negative thoughts, do they come from you? And people always say, yeah, they're in my head. I ask this of the commanders. They're like, yeah. I go, here's my next question. If you believe your negative thoughts come from you, who would ever choose to have a negative thought? You would never choose one. So where it's coming from, it's always coming in. Have you noticed that overthinking is always associated with negative thoughts? We never say, I have too many positive thoughts. We never say, I am just too happy today. I have too much gratitude. Man, life is just too awesome. No one lays in bed at night with their thoughts racing. They can't fall asleep thinking about how awesome their life is, right? It's always the negative thoughts that create clutter, lower our state of mind, and then make us feel powerless. Then you get to a higher state of mind with a lot of positivity, clarity, focus, love, optimism, and belief. So it's really understanding again, that's where the negative thoughts come from. So the negative thoughts affect us more. They come in, and I'm sure the neural pathways are the result of survival mechanisms, but it's really an indictment on our identity is the issue.
I've heard you talk also about that negativity or fear can't exist whilst gratitude is in your heart and in your mind.
Yeah, so you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling grateful, you won't feel stressed. So gratitude is my number one way that I turned my life around. I began taking walks of gratitude every day because I read you can't be stressed and thankful. So I said, I'm going to try this. I began doing what I call thank you walks. And on those walks, you just practice gratitude and you're flooding your brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you and over time slowly kill you. So in doing that day in and day out, what was I doing? Rewiring my brain from negative to positive. I was elevating my state of mind. I wrote all about this in the One Truth, right? Elevate your state of mind, and then you're tuning into a higher frequency and you're performing at a higher level. So gratitude is essential, but also love casts out fear. So anytime you're feeling fear, the key here as a leader, as a real estate agent in any capacity, remember, love casts out fear. Focus on loving what you get to do, loving your team, loving even the competition. I love the battle. It's a battle right now. Love the battle. And when I love the battle and I'm not worried about making a mistake and I'm not worried or fearful of failing and I'm loving it, I'm going to be a powerful force for good, operating at a higher level and then performing at a higher level as a result. It's my greatest success principle of all and strategy to help leaders and also athletes perform at a higher level. I always tell them, don't fear the outcome. Love the battle in the moment and love competing. And the minute you love competing, you'll play at a higher level.
So good. I'm actually gonna come back to you about the thank you walks in a few minutes here because I want to get a few more things. I love that idea. I think it's brilliant. You know, we've talked on the Curious CEO many times with guests, and my own personal belief is, there's 230 odd people here working at Buffini and Company. I'm the CEO of the company, right? So I know if my morning starts in the right way, I've got a chance of actually helping other people. But if I come in kind of up to about here and somebody just comes in with a little smidgen of glass of water of kind of like, that's not going to work. That's like, I go from here to here like this fast. And next thing I'm drowning and then I want to drown them. So getting from here to here with some of the habits and routines you're talking about, and I want to come back to that. But, leaders go first, don't they? Because ultimately, how do we do it? And I think you've started, unpacking it a lot for us as leaders of what we need to do. But then how do we start to kind of, okay, I got myself in order. Now, how do I get the team aligned with this or to buy into it?
So, as you said, leaders lead the way, leaders go first. You have to feed yourself in order to feed others. If you don't have it, you can't share it. And so leadership is a transfer of belief. So it starts there. And that's why your mindset is so important. And you are contagious every day. You can be positively contagious or negatively contagious. You can affect your team or infect your team with your mood. So this is why it's so crucial that we're working on our own leadership, our own mindset, and how we are sharing that energy with others. What is culture? Culture is the living, breathing essence of what an organization or a team values, believes, thinks, says, and does. What is essence? It's the essence of you. Your culture is going to be the essence of what the leader is sharing, and then everyone then buys into and is drawn to. So you're radiating every day. You're the heart of your team and organization. You're radiating from the heart, the frequency of the heart to every cell in the body, to every team member every day. So that's essential first and foremost. Then there are practical actions that you need to take as a leader to develop a great team. This is what I'm really focused on with our organization. We help leaders build stronger teams. We realized this recently. Like, this is our crux. This is what we do better than anyone in the world. We help leaders build stronger, more successful teams. And how do you do that? Well, it's taking time to share the vision and mission. You have to commit to the vision and mission. And by the way, Dermot, I have my new book coming out in May. It's called The 7 Commitments of a Great Team. My favorite book I think I've ever written. I wrote it over Christmas, and it's the 7 commitments that every team needs to have if they want to accomplish something great. And part of that is committing to the vision and mission as a team. And you've got to share the vision, share the mission, and people got to buy into it. And you got to talk about it every single day. Like, why are we here? Who are we? I want people to know, like, the other day I was a little down. Like, I was a little down. I'm like you said, I'm busy. I'm really busy. I'm busier than ever. Like, than ever. I should be slowing down. I'm busier because I have so much more to do. And I realized, why am I doing all this? And I really had this talk with myself. And this got me back to the vision and mission of that I'm sharing with you right now. I got excited the minute I said, it's to develop positive leaders in every business, every organization around the world. This is what I'm here for. This is what we have to do. I got excited immediately. All right, let's go. Once you remember your why, you will know the way, and you won't let obstacles get in the way. And here's the key. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. So when you know your why as a leader and the team knows the why, that keeps you going. That keeps you energized. That keeps you fresh. The next part of this equation is obviously staying positive together. We talked about that. Like, how can we have collective optimism and belief as a team going forward? And then it's all about weeding the negative, feeding the positive, not allowing that negativity to sabotage your team. One person can't make a team, but one person could break a team. Got the no complaining rule that I wrote. No complaining, not allowed to complain unless you come with a solution. So implement the no complaining rule with your team. A great rule. We want to hear your solutions. We want to hear how we can improve things, but no mindless complaining, because it's toxic. It's like throwing up. Afterwards, you feel better, but then everyone around you feels sick. And then the negativity part, then the difficult conversations don't have to be difficult. A new book I wrote with Amy Kelly. How do we have difficult conversations with our team members? Because so often we don't deal with the issues that are hurting our team, and they're around, they're the elephants in the room, and we don't address it. You got to address it, and there's got to be a way that you do address it. So we created the whole idea of how to create these team conversations to become a stronger team, which is essential. And then the other part is making sure that the 4 C's were implemented: communicating, connecting, committing, and caring. We got to make sure we take the time to communicate, connect, how we commit, service, and sacrifice. Commitment generates commitment, and then showing that we care, building that trust, that relationship. And I would say caring is also love and accountability. So how do we have love and accountability with our team, where we have our standards, but we're supporting and loving them along the way to meet the standards? And think about it, as a leader, if you really love someone, you're not going to let them settle for anything but their best. You're not going to let them just go through mediocrity. You're going to challenge them at times to grow and get better and improve. And there's a wide range of ways to do that. But those 4 C's, we can unpack those more if you want to, but those 4 C's are essential.
Wherever you want to go. I mean, look, I can just kind of react to some of what you're saying, because I remember seeing your originally the no complaining rule, and I was like, hold on a second here. But once I unpacked it and actually dug into it, it's like, no, it's like, we're not going to stay in a complaining state. Like, you're not saying to people, there's no we're just positive. That is it. And we are going to beat the negativity out of you until you're positive. You're not saying that. But what I like is the reality is it is a tough world. There are tough things that happen. I'll say to folks some mornings like, they walk into the office and I say, good morning. I go, how are you doing? They go, I'm great. And I'm like, I don't think you are. They got out of the wrong side of the bed. They had a fight with the spouse. The kids didn't do what they want. The Starbucks was delivered in the wrong way. And it's like, that's before they get to serve one of our customers. And I like the fact that, hey, there's place for both. There's a place for both, but we're not going to stay there where it turns into complaining, as you said, and becomes toxic.
We're not positive because life is easy. We're positive because life is hard. And positive leaders always find a way forward. And I love that you just said we're going to meet people where they are. We're not going to gloss over it. We're not going to just say, oh, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. No, it's like we're here to talk about what challenge are you facing? What solution can we work on together? I have a thing, and we do this in our leadership training. Tell me something good. So you ask someone, hey, tell me something good. They walk in the office. Tell me something good. The next thing is, what's not good? Let's talk about it. What's not good? And then how are we going to make it good? So what that does is that lets you hear people when it's not good, but you're coming up with solutions. But it also those people who are going to complain all the time, who don't want a solution, are not going to engage in these kind of conversations anymore. And they're going to stop complaining because they know you're going to ask them, tell me something good, what's not good, and how we're going to make it good. They now have to be empowered to come up with a solution and a way to improve. So these are just tools and strategies and techniques and principles, all different ways to make sure that we operate at a higher level, perform at a higher level, and not allow negativity to sabotage us. That's the issue. Because so often we allow bitterness to set in, we allow pessimism to rise, we allow despair and discouragement. We don't give up because it's hard. We give up because we get discouraged. And as a leader, you're also a dealer in hope. But again, we need practical tools along the way too for our teams.
That's brilliant. I found, and I have to be careful of this myself, so I'm not excluding myself from what I'm about to say. But sometimes my negativity is my excuse. It's my reason. It's why I'm going to get stuck. It's why I can't move forward. And it is the opposite of hope. Stay there long enough, you feel hopeless. So one of the things you've said, which is, as you said, I think, did you say think like a rookie?
Think like a rookie.
So I'll give a practical application of that. Buffini and Company is 29 years in business.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a great business. We've had great stories. We've got great clients, but we're gearing up for the future. And one of the ways we're gearing up for the future is we've brought a bunch of new leaders to Buffini and Company, and they come and they're like, holy cow. And I go, I'm so happy you're here because we need to see the business the way you see the business. Because I often say to them, it's like going to you go to the coal mine. Well, in the coal is diamonds. And when you're a rookie, all you see is diamonds. And eventually you don't really see the coal. But give it enough time, that dust is going to fall onto the diamonds. And sure enough, before you know it, all you'll see is the coal. So we're going through this right now where I'm telling my new leaders, don't stay where you are. Keep telling me where the diamonds are. Keep showing me where they are. And I can't tell you. And this is why I think coaching works. I think that's why having an outside perspective works. By reading a book that gets outside of your world to go, oh, well, maybe it's not that bad. Because I just think it's, as you said, it's our human condition.
It's our human condition, but looking for the good is essential. Looking for those diamonds is key. I have a success journal now, and I encourage people. For years, I've been telling people to do this. Write down your success of the day. You could just use a notepad for this. Write down your success every day. Why should you do that? Well, what you focus on shows up more in your life. What you look for, you find. So I never want you to stop looking for the diamonds, because if you're looking for diamonds, you're going to find more diamonds. My son looks for shark teeth on the beach. He's done this as a kid. He always found shark's teeth. He always believed he would find them. Other people are like, I'll never find shark's teeth. He always had this belief that he would find shark's teeth, and he always did. I told him, you're very special that you actually believe it and you find it. You'd come back with a jar of them when other people would say, I can't find shark's teeth. So when you're looking for the diamonds, you see more of them. If you don't believe me on this, next time you get in a car, I want you to look for blue cars on the road. You will see more blue cars on the road, because what you look for, you find. When you start doing this, I guarantee you start doing your success every day. The one great thing that happened, the one great meeting, the one great accomplishment. You have your office, do the same. And you do this every single day with your team. Try it for 30 days and measure this. See if you have more success at the end of 30 days if everyone does this. Guarantee you will. Guarantee.
So true. I think, and now I could, my brother told me this, so I always have to verify, you know, which is it was a part of the brain called the reticular activator.
Yes, that's the antenna of the brain.
And so he's talked about it because when he, he has 6 kids, but the last pregnancy was twins. And so he was like, once we knew we were having twins, guess what? All we could see everywhere we went,
Twins.
which was twins.
Yeah.
So it's so true. I see it. And what I'm hearing is it's habit. Like it is habit, and it's replacing. It's like paying down debt and savings at the same time. You can't be all or nothing. You're gonna deal with it in a practical way. So I heard a couple of things because this is my last question for you, which was, and if feel free, maybe you've covered them. But at the end of the day, what this is about is us giving, I want to give practical tips to our audience. So I'm talking about what routines and habits can we put in place to protect ourselves? And you just said a few. So I got a couple. Thank you walks. Okay. Practically, and I know people are thinking this, how long do you walk for? Do you walk until you can't? Like, do you walk for a day? Are you like Forrest Gump? Do you come back with a beard?
10 minutes to an hour.
10 minutes to an hour.
Even 10 minutes after a meal. You could do 3 thank you walks a day. One after breakfast.
I love it.
One after dinner. They say to walk after a meal anyway. It's great for your blood sugar level.
Yep.
So try that. And but again, even if it's one walk in the morning, and for me it's an hour in the morning, but you can do it as long as you need to.
Okay, I'm really upset right now, to be honest with you, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because I worked out with my trainer this morning. I'm about to get into Ireland. I'm traveling the whole month. I'm going for Billy, and I go, I was making my excuses. Guess what he said? You can walk for 10 minutes 3 times a day. I'm like,
She can.
darn you, Gordon.
And then when you walk,
start with the small things if you want, and then gradually move up to bigger things. So I'm thankful I can walk. I'm thankful for this ground that I'm walking on. I'm thankful, you look around, I'm thankful for the grass growing over there. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my family, even though my kids are driving me nuts, is what I used to say. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my wife. And I'm thankful for this opportunity to lead others. I'm thankful for this business. Yeah, I know we're struggling perhaps in some ways, but I'm thankful for all the memories and all the success. And I'm looking forward to new successes coming my way. So you're really becoming a conduit for possibilities when you do this.
Well, I think you've done a wonderful job in this area, and you're such a champion from it. And it's obvious where your passion comes from. It's because where you do come from and what you've had to overcome. And I also know this is real world. As you're dealing with these teams and these coaches and going in to motivate them, you're unpacking this all the time, and you're getting to see the patterns are probably the same, whether it's a football team or whether it's a company or a CEO, it's all the same stuff. I think you're the modern day Zig Ziglar when it comes to positivity. And I will tell you this personally, and Tom's a friend of ours, his son. Myself and Brian flew years ago to see Zig just before he passed. And at that time he had Alzheimer's. And it was kind of like a bit of a shock, and we were there to meet with him and love on him. The only thing he could remember was positive stuff. Everything that came out of his mouth was a positive stuff. And by the way, because of his condition, he was repeating it. And myself and Brian were kind of like, on one hand, you're going, oh gosh, it was kind of sad. And then we were like, no, that's what I wanted coming out of my mouth. So I just
I got
made
a
me
chance
think
to
of that
see,
now.
I got a chance to see him shortly before he passed away. It was an event in Dallas I was speaking at. He's in the front row taking notes while I was speaking. Couldn't believe it. Not because I was up there. And I said, Zig, one of the big goals of my life was to meet you. And he said, you need to have bigger goals. Still humble after all these years. So humble, taking notes, an amazing leader. But I want everyone to know, we can all overcome negativity. It's serious, but it's funny. Like my dad, when I told him I want to be a writer and speaker, he's like, what the heck do you want to do that for? That's a load of junk. That won't amount to anything. And then when I started speaking, he said, I can't believe people actually pay you to speak. He said, when you were a kid, we paid you to shut up. And
So it's funny, but it's true. Like I had to overcome a
Yeah.
lot. But
Yeah.
remember, what we overcome
Mm. Yeah.
makes us stronger.
and what you're going through during this time, it's called like worthy opponents, right? The rivals you face, the adversity you face, every rival you've ever faced, every challenge you've ever faced, it's all designed to make you stronger in the end. And if you never got sick, you wouldn't have a strong immune system. So we do have to battle the conditions and the forces. And I have found that the most competitive people, they're the ones who are the most successful, competitive. And they can be, competitive in a negative way. But I meet pastors who are truly competitive. They want to destroy you on the football field or the sports, on the basketball court or the pickleball court. But now they're competitive in a positive way, like taking on the negativity, taking on the challenges of the world, trying to lead others in a faithful way. So they become competitive in a different way. So you can have this healthy competition, this healthy spirit. It's not out of needing to win. It's I want to win and I want to accomplish something great. And that's different. So yeah, you can always turn the negative towards a positive, and the negative needs to be there. It needs to be there because you have to have the struggle and the fight along the way to
Grow to be who you're meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so good. Well, I don't know if this is good news or bad news for you, but I think you're going to be busier than you have ever been in your life, my friend, because it's such a needed word. You're needed in this world and you do such a great job. Before, you've been so generous with your time. Would you be okay popping backstage so that we can meet with some of our leadership coaching clients and answer some questions? I've
I'd
no
love
doubt
to.
they've got some for you. In the
Q&A is the
meantime,
best.
thank you very much for your time today. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I would highly recommend any of Jon's books. Jon, I'm a little bit behind. I've only read the Energy book, The Power of Positive Leadership, I've got the training camp. I got to get The Power of Positive Team. I'm going to Ireland. I'm going to read that in the plane. And then the No Complaining Rule. I would just highly recommend. The good stuff is here. The man has put it together for you. And for more, go to jongordon.com. Check him out. He's got a podcast. He's got great information. This guy will fire you up. He will excite you, and he will keep you rocking and rolling so you can see all the good in this life and all the good in others and the opportunities ahead. So, Jon, thanks a million.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for it.
All right. Well, thank you to that. I promised you a shot in the arm. I told you we'd deliver. So I hope you get a chance to watch this back. We'll be back next time. We are going to be joined on The Curious CEO with Stephen M.R. Covey, who's going to talk to us about the power of trust in leadership and how to transition from managing to inspiring, and why trust is the key to unlocking potential in your team and business. So until next time, stay curious, my friends.
Thank you for joining us on this month's Curious CEO. If you're ready to take your leadership to the next level, maybe it's time for you to work with a Buffini certified leadership coach. Our coaches will help you identify and leverage your natural leadership style, develop a strong organizational culture, improve recruiting and retention, and increase the profitability of your business. And among the benefits of our leadership coaching membership is a backstage pass to the Curious CEO that allows you to ask your questions directly to Dermot and his amazing guests. If you'd like to see if Buffini leadership coaching is right for you, schedule your complimentary leadership consultation using the URL on your screen.